Welcome back to Gfinity Summer Masters 2. My name is Lycan. With me, I have once again Bling and TLO here on the analyst desk. Today, we have a very special, awesome finals for you guys. It's going to be KeeN versus Marinelord. Bling, how excited are you?
I'm pretty excited. I'm not too happy about getting my prediction wrong, but being a TVT final, I don't think anyone actually expected it. If you took a look at the players that were here today, I'm pretty sure everyone probably expected Lilbo and Myungsik to be in the finals if that could have happened. So the fact this is TVT, it's pretty cool. I'm not too sure how in-depth our analysis is going to be for this day one.
TVT
we can try.
It's a very volatile matchup, very exciting, especially in the early game. Things that can happen with Banshees, Reapers, all kinds of stuff, tank pushes. Dario, what do you expect to see out of this?
I think it'll be a pretty good mix of builds. That's one of the beauties of TVT, that there are so many different things you can do in the early game that are all viable. And depending, it's not just like builds clashing and one build beats build, one build A beats build B. It's all about the skill of the player, how you micro the build, how you read the build of the opponent and then react with your build. So it'll be a nice match.
Yeah, I think one of the great things about TVT is it's, in a lot of ways, kind of the most like chess, especially with the tanks. You know, you take positions, you try to find the good angle. It's kind of a back and forth, always making moves and counter moves. So it's really a very exciting matchup all throughout, especially in the early game. Let's go ahead and take one more look at how we got here this weekend. So taking a look at the bracket. First off, once again, we started with 8 players. We are now down to 2. Today, we kicked off with Sion and Marinelord, and then Myungsik and KeeN. And as we can see, the victors of that, Marinelord, KeeN, they're getting ready to face off in a best of 5, for the first best of 5 for the week. And that's competing for $5,000. That's going to be the grand prize today. So again, it's a pretty penny. It's exciting. These people, they haven't played each other, actually. I don't believe there's any public match where they have played. And Aligulak has Marinelord favored 70% over.
Yeah, but that's,
But
Aligulak is kind of inaccurate in the sense that Marinelord has mostly been playing against Europeans and Americans, and KeeN has almost only been playing against Korean. So European players can sometimes be a little bit inflated because of that, because the mixing of the scene doesn't always, you know, make up for the statistic. Like, you could probably boost a couple 100 points in every Korean player and then still have an accurate statistic.
So what do you think we're going to see as far as, if you had to give your best estimate, it's best of 5, how are the rounds going to look?
Well, I don't want to, you know, play Oracle too much, because we haven't seen any TVT from either player yet. So it'll be easier to talk more about it afterwards.
Yeah, I know that Marinelord said he hasn't really played too much TVT in competition play as of late. It's kind of been just all about his TVP and TVZ. So I did speak to him backstage a little bit, and he did say that it wasn't his best matchup, and he doesn't particularly like going up against Terrans and Korean Terrans at that. So I'm not sure how confident he is. I know that he would have preferred to play Myungsik, but he's still a really strong player. There's no doubt about it. He is one of the best players, or one of the best Terrans in Europe, in fact, probably just behind Bunny, in my opinion. So he's definitely a force to be reckoned with, but will he be able to go toe-to-toe with KeeN? I'm not sure. I hope he can. I definitely hope he can, but it's hard to say.
I think it's going to, a lot of it's going to come down to what Marinelord can do as far as the defensive. I know a lot of Korean Terrans like to play TVT very aggressively. They go for those early Banshee before expansion kind of builds. They go for, we really haven't seen the Raven in a while. The Raven tank pushes that used to happen, or the tank drops in the main. A lot of early Widowmine though, a handful of Marines, a Widowmine, those kind of things. So I think it's going to depend on how well Marinelord can react to that. Do you see him as a player that's going to be able to handle that kind of aggression?
I don't know. It's going to be hard. Like, I think if anyone's going to be the aggressor, it's probably Marinelord. I don't think he'll want to go into the late game against KeeN in TVT, because it's kind of hard. If you make one big mistake, or not even one big mistake, but if you make a small kind of mistake, it will lead into a game-winning kind of mistake. So it's very volatile matchup, like you did mention before. And yeah, if he can get that early game down, if he can kind of go into the mid game with a little bit of advantage, that will really help him go, obviously, into that late game. Because if he's toe-to-toe with a Korean Terran, man, like, no one ever wants to be in that situation. No one.
Dario, you've talked in the past about mirror matchup being the easiest to learn from, because you just copy what your opponent has done, you learn, you adapt, and you move forward. In the short term, though, literally in a best-of-5 series, how can you apply that same kind of mentality instead of over the long term of training?
Not really. That's more really of a long-term thing in the sense I lose a game, I watch the game, I play the build order that I lost again to get a better feel for it. Then if I lose with that build order, I can figure out how to beat that build order. So in TVT, it's tricky because it is a very build order rich matchup. So you can't just watch game 1 and then, okay, now I know how to beat him. Because really, there's all kinds of tricks you can bring out on the battlefield there. I think both players are going to be pretty active. It's kind of rare that people play passive in TVT because, as Playing said, once you get in there, you can deal so much damage. For example, if you have a double marine drop in your base and you're out of position, you lose 2 E-base, you lose a base in a matter of seconds. So usually both players try to be pretty active to have a better idea of what's going on the map, try to look for opportunity. If you just sit back, eventually the other guy will find an opening. So you need to find your own openings.
So when you go into a matchup, you're in a mirror matchup, and say, you know, we're talking about Zerg, for instance, in this case. How do you go about the series if you know that your opponent is better than you? Is there anything you can do to kind of compensate for that just because you play the same race, you have the knowledge of that race?
Well, I feel there's not extreme things that you can do in TVT because most of the builds are pretty figured out. Everybody kind of knows how to play against everything. So that's the thing. TVT, usually the better player comes out on top. You just have to, he's just going to have to play the best he can.
Yeah, I will say that it does seem that the best player in TVT does come out, but there are also those instances where the volatility of Terran as a mirror matchup really kind of shines through when you see players just take that one opportunity, you snipe a medevac, and it could be the game over right from there.
I think one thing that we haven't even discussed about is who's going to go for mech and who's going to go for bio. Or are they both going to go for mech? Are they both going to go for bio? Because that's probably going to be the biggest factor in this series. Obviously, the openers are very important, but as you progress into the mid to late stages of the game, which path are they going to go down? And I think Marinelord, he can play both styles, and I'm sure KeeN can as well, but I think Marinelord, he's probably going to feel a bit more comfortable playing that mech style because it's not as fast-paced and it's not as aggressive and it doesn't tax his multitasking as much as a bio-style play would. And I'm not saying his multitasking is bad or anything, but as we all know, I think KeeN's APM is like 300, and that's like completely ridiculous as a Terran player. So I'm pretty sure he'll probably go for a mech style, but what will KeeN do? I guess we're going to have to wait and see.
Yeah, I like your thoughts on that. I definitely agree that, when it comes to multitasking and a reason for Marinelord to take the mech side, but I also do think that mech among Korean Terrans seems to be very popular in TVT in a lot of cases, so we could also see it from KeeN. I'm not too familiar with his play style as far as TVT goes, but it would be interesting to see if we do get a few mech games out of it. It is a best of 5. We could have up to 3 games, from one side, or it could go up to 5 games total. That gives us a lot of opportunities to see different play styles, especially with the different maps we have. Is there any map in particular you think that favors Terran mech against Terran?
Do we know the maps? Or are you just asking?
Just the map pool in general.
It's a very...
We don't have the maps yet.
Okay. No. I think if any map's going to get... if any map's going to be played with bio, I guess a bio style play, it's going to be Moonlight because it's just so hard to defend the cross kind of 3 bases. The rest of them, maybe Bridgehead as well, but other than that, I think mech's pretty decent for pretty much every map.
Well, Iron Fortress is also pretty hard to mech.
Yeah, Iron Fortress as well. I guess that's a tricky one. I guess.
We actually have the vetoes right now. We can take a look at that. It looks like Marinelord got rid of Dash and Terminal. KeeN got rid of Bridgehead. And then Marinelord's picks were Cactus Valley and Terraform. KeeN then going for Coda, Iron Fortress. And then, of course, our decider is going to be Moonlight Madness. Cactus Valley, it's a big map. There's a lot of space, a lot of move for drops and all that. I could see that as a very good map to go bio on, especially if you want to use the mobility. There's not a lot of open space that isn't hindered by some sort of rock formation.
Let's hope we see bio on that map because it is a very big map, like you said. And if it's mech against mech, it's going to be a pretty long game. So it would be fun to see bio on that map, but mech's pretty good on that map as well. It's an easy map to do it as well. Securing those 3 bases is what kind of any race wants to do, Zerg, Protoss, Terran. So the easiest way to do that on that map in particular is mech. So there's a good chance I think we can see that in this map.
Dario, do you have a favorite style you like to see when it comes to Terran play?
No, I really like the diversity. That's the main cool thing about TVT. I mean, I prefer watching bio over mech, but within the bio style, I don't really have a preference. I think Cactus is kind of good for mech, I guess initially, but the problem of Cactus is if you try to go beyond 4 bases, you spread out yourself really, really far. So on those big maps, if somebody goes for mech, it's going to be an extremely passive mech. Like, you really need to get up to 200 supply before you can do anything beyond the 4 bases. So I think this is probably going to be decided by bio. If there's going to be mech, it's never going to come to that. Either it's going to be a really long mech versus bio game, or it's going to be a really short bio versus mech game.
Yeah, I feel like in TVT, that's the place where Terran really gets to show diversity. If you look at especially if you're playing bio, right? If you look at the TVZ, TVP matchups, you kind of get pigeonholed into these styles that really start working in the meta, and there's really very little deviance from that unless you're going to do some sort of special build, right? But in TVT, you have all those options: Ravens, tanks, Banshees, Reapers, all those different kind of pushes that you can do.
Yeah, and that's what makes the matchup so cool, because there are so many different options you can open with, and yeah, it's a cool matchup for sure.
Definitely, definitely. So, looking at the overall tournament, I guess final thoughts on the event. Did you have any specific matchup that you really were shocked by?
I guess the natural one is to say Psionic and Patience, but yeah, Lilbo as well. I guess everyone's pretty sad to see him actually not there.
Yeah,
I think a lot of people were hoping for a Baguette final.
Yeah, well, we do have a Baguette in the final. And do you think it's going to be Marinelord emerging victorious?
No, I hope so. I hope so. I like him.
So.
I like him. Yeah, he's a cool guy. I'm good friends with him, and I hope he does. But at the same time, KeeN's really keen. Hey, yeah. In his post-game interview in his last series, he mentioned that he's never been in the finals before.
Yeah,
Korean tournament or a foreigner tournament. So the fact that he's in one, I'm sure he's going to be hungry for it, and yeah, I'm sure he's going to do whatever it takes to win.
Yep. All right, guys. Well, it looks like we are ready to get going. We're going to send it once again to the best stage host in the world. We're going to get things started. We're going to send it to Martin. Take it away.
The best stage host in the world. I love you, Jared. I always have and I always will. It's grand final time. We're ready. You're about to find out who is going to win the Starcraft 2 Summer Masters 2 here at the Gfinity stand, live from EGX in Birmingham. We've had a great 2 days. It all comes down to the next couple of hours, and we will find your champion right here, right now. Let's waste no more time and bring out the first of the finalists. He's a Terran representing Millennium from France. It's Marinelord. There you are. Your second finalist, also a Terran, representing Prime from South Korea, KeeN. Good stuff. Right, gentlemen, if you'd like to shake hands, get yourselves in the booth. It's time. We're here. It's right here. It's right now. Talking you through the action. Let's take you over to your casting team, and they'll bring it all to life. Boys, over to you.
A Terran versus Terran final, our best of 5 series now at the end of the tournament. And well, we have 2 great players here. The new Koreans, the French, they're represented by, of course, Marinelord here. And we have also a French Terran player commenting the game with me. And yeah, are you excited for a Terran versus Terran?
I mean, of course, I'm a Terran, I'm French, he's the same team as me, so couldn't be better for me.
How do you think his chances are going into this right now? You said at the beginning that he's not really too eager to play against KeeN. He doesn't want to play the Terran versus Terran because KeeN is just such an amazing player in this matchup. He would have rather faced off against Myung-sik. How do you think his chances are to actually become the champion here at the Gfinity Masters?
Well, yeah, he's scared, obviously. I mean, when you face a Korean in a final of any event, you better be scared. But in the end, he's just going to play his best, I think. And his best is really insane. He's obviously one of the best Terran, if not the best in Europe. And yeah, he's going to bring some sick action, I think.
And in this case, we're seeing now KeeN on screen, of course. Like, he played an incredible series so far. Not only the games that he played against Myungsik earlier, but also on the first day when he made the comeback against Lilbo. He already took down one of the baguettes. Now he has a chance to take down the second one. We had actually quite a lot of French players in the tournament here, but we did also have our fair share of protos, and especially, of course, that game between Psionic and Patience is still something that we remember from the first day where the French player was able to take down a Korean. That's something that Marinelord is going to try and do now as well. KeeN, as you can see here, 20 years of age, and he has been playing some incredible games, and of course with the victory here he would crown that those accomplishments. 5,000 for the victor on the line here. The second place still goes home with 2,500 euros, so it's quite a bit of money that he can win in this case, and both of them super eager to win this right now. KeeN, what would you think are like the key features of his play in Terran versus Terran?
I don't know much about his TVT, but I know that he has taken off very, very good players in Korea. I'm talking about top Koreans, so it's basically the top players in the world. So being able to defeat them makes me being a bit scared for Marinelord, but I'm confident. Look at him, he's smiling. He's confident as well, I'm sure.
I'm not exactly sure what he's laughing about, but he seems to be in high spirits here. And of course, we have all seen his games now as well. He had a pretty good run through his bracket part, also 20 years old, and we have him with the WCS rank 37, as you can see here. His Terran versus Terran, as you could just hear from Deishi, pretty good, but then again, KeeN is a beast in the matchup as well. So we are going to see a pretty high-level Terran versus Terran.
Yes, it is going to be a very high level. I remember that it's actually weird, because Marinelord says it's not his best matchup, but he's a beast in TVT. Like, I don't know why he thinks it's not his best, to be honest.
How often have you actually faced him in tournaments?
A lot. I used to always beat him like 2 years ago, and he had 1 year when he basically stopped school to go full-time in pro gaming, and he had a very bad year. But since early 2015, I'd say, he started to just well, destroy me all over, and it was the same for Gigi, for example, which is an insane Korean. And even the other Koreans, the other European Terran in Europe, he was starting to just beat them left and right. And I'm talking about Bunny, Happy. So these names are not unknown, and he managed to defeat them really easily.
It's definitely going to be a great final here, and we of course see the maps again. We have a best of 5 for the first time in the tournament. The final series with potentially 5 maps. Cactus Valley is going to kick the tournament match off. We have Coda coming in on number 2. Terraform is going to be our third map. Iron Fortress and Moonlight Madness, if needed, are going to be map number 4 and number 5. And yeah, both of players, of course, getting ready to roll here for the finals. And our first map is, as mentioned before, Cactus Valley. We have a great Terran versus Terran here. They've been mostly facing Protoss players thus far. This is actually the first mirror matchup that we have with the TVT now in the tournament. And the map is live, so we're going to jump in right away. And currently starting off here on Cactus Valley in the first map of the final. Up to the top right of the map, we're having our first Terran player. It is Marinelord. Marinelord up to the top, a French player here, the only European in the finals here, and down to the bottom right, it's the Korean Terran, it is KeeN. And what are the positions that we see here on the map, and can you just like explain a bit what your personal thoughts are on Cactus Valley as a map for a Terran versus Terran matchup?
Well, it's a very open map in the way that I have no clue what they can do. You can basically do anything on this map. I think mech is decent because there is no much threat with the drops, but bio is viable as well because it's a big map, and when you want to move out with your mech army, you can basically get destroyed by a big concave or a flank or anything. So I cannot tell what they want to go for.
Well, in this case, we have actually like an early gas here for KeeN already, so he's starting off with the gas in this case. And in general, like in the series, we've been talking to Marinelord a lot about the series, of course, beforehand. And what would you expect him, not only on this map, but throughout the series? What style is he going to play? Is he going to play a rather passive stance, or is he going to try and be the aggressor throughout the series? What has he said?
Well, he's very solid in terms of build, so I think he's just going to do the build that he knows, which is mostly mech and very Hellion-based early game with Vikings and Raven. So that's the core of his gameplay early on. Mostly Hellions, Vikings and Raven. He doesn't want to take damage from early Banshee, for example, and he wants to have this map control and army advantage. And from then, snowball the Terran with a mass Hellion.
We have Marinelord already scouting up, but he's scouting to the top left first, so counterclockwise in this case, which means that he's going to get a very late read on what KeeN is doing. So he's not going to see that early gas anytime soon. Actually, maybe even a bit of a problem there for Marinelord as he pauses. But let's talk about that scout a bit. As we have KeeN opening with the gas first, how important is it for Marinelord to identify that early on, and how difficult is the game going to be considering that he's scouting into the wrong direction now?
Well, of course, that's a big deal on a 4-player map, not to scout your opponent first. He's gonna have to, well, he's gonna scout him in 2 minutes from now, so he will not know that it's gas first, but I don't think it matters that much, because I feel like he's gonna go for a defensive style with an early Raven. It's the first game of the best of 5. I think he's gonna chill a bit, be defensive, and wait to see the KeeN playstyle. How does he want to play this?
So just test the waters a little bit and see what exactly KeeN is up to. So just leaving the field for KeeN at the beginning and playing a more reactive style at first.
But it's dangerous, I think, because KeeN will have the initiative, and letting a Korean come to your base, I don't know about that. But he knows about TVT. He has already beaten so many Koreans before, and as I said, many European Terrans. So I'm looking forward to see his defense.
Well, KeeN in general throughout the tournament, I mean, of course, in different matchups, but as a general play style, he was very aggressive, or at least he was the one who was trying to really have the initiative during the series. We've seen it a lot in the series against Myungsik in particular, where he was always trying to just like go for a bit of draw play, a bit of early poke, just like trying to find out what he can actually accomplish with early aggression. In this case, he's opening up with the gas first. So if you would have to judge what KeeN is going to try and do here right now, it looks like he wants to really initiate the attacks here.
Yeah, definitely. He could still go for something defending himself, like a Raven, for example, really early on. But it's most likely going to be either Marine, Hellion, Medivac push, or a quick Banshee Cloak. That's the two options that I see right now.
Yeah, we've seen actually KeeN like with a lot of different openings, and also against Protoss, not so much in style what he did there at times, but you've seen him with proxy Widow Mine drops, for example. He's went into Banshee play, and he could do the same thing against, of course, Marinelord there as well. KeeN has already pointed out by not only Marinelord, but you earlier, is a great player in Terran versus Terran. He's been playing the matchup. He had great results in Korea too, and he's just one of these guys that has like a lot of different builds that he can show. And it's going to be interesting to see how especially Marinelord is going to adapt to this. But then again, all of the foreigners that we had at the tournament, especially the French, have shown that they can take down Koreans. I mean, Lil Bo wasn't too happy with what was going on yesterday. And how angry was he, actually? I mean, talking about the series again, in case that you haven't tuned in, yesterday we had a match between the WCS winner in Europe, Lil Bo, and he played against KeeN. He won the first match, had the game basically won on map number 2, and with a few mistakes and an insane comeback from KeeN, he then started off to lose 2 in a row and is now out of the tournament. And that must have really annoyed him, right? Especially with you French players always like nagging each other a little bit about that.
Yeah, he was. Actually, I've never seen him that mad after a loss, because obviously he just won WCS. He played better than KeeN during these 2 first map, and I don't know what happened to him. And I wish it's not gonna affect him during BlizzCon, because it could be scary for him to have these kind of games before such an event. So yeah, he didn't take it that well.
Is he the type that is actually getting motivated even more after such a loss? I mean, you're saying like about him maybe being affected regarding BlizzCon, but like a lot of players, when they lose in such a case, and this is early in the tournament, that they have the exact opposite reaction, you know, that they say, well, now I'm going to go to BlizzCon, I'm going to show everybody that that was just a mistake that I made, it was a fluke, it's not really representative. Is he the guy who's taking more that approach, or do you think it's going to affect it in a negative way?
I don't think it's going to affect him in a negative way. He either doesn't care, I think, or it's going to push him harder.
Yeah, well, for now we have actually Marinelord also like lagging out of the game right now. I think they are just like trying to fix something that's over there. I hope that everything is going to be all right. We have our first map, of course, still being Coda. In this case, we haven't really seen too much here. KeeN opening a bit more aggressive with that gas first, in case that you just tuned in, and at the same time, Marinelord, unfortunately, scouting into the wrong direction, which is going to give him a very late read on what exactly is going on there. He was pretty relaxed in the backstage area going into this. I mean, you guys talked a little bit, but so far, he has made a pretty relaxed impression. It would have been a more interesting or more better, like a little bit better for him to actually see Myungsik advance, since he could have also like scouted out his playstyle a bit more. Yeah, in this case, did you actually look up a couple of VODs of KeeN? Did you get the chance to look at a few TVTs and maybe prepare for this series?
Well, I know that he looks a lot the Koreans, like the GSL and everything. He likes to watch that, so I think he knows the KeeN playstyle. But going back to Marinelord's shape, yes, he's not stressed, not really, and that's the main difference between the Marinelord of 2013 and 2014, when he was just, I don't know, falling down during offline events. And right now, he's used to play to these big events like WCS, Round of 8. Like he went to Toronto, to Poland, to play some games in front of a lot of people. And right now, I think he's not scared anymore to be in front of a crowd and win against Koreans.
Has it ever affected you when you were playing? I mean, there's a lot of players who say, for example, that they feel it's an aspect that it is a bit overrated, that it's not really playing such a huge role. Others are completely it's completely different level when they are playing on an offline environment or when they're playing in the comfort zone of their own home. Has it ever affected you?
For me, that's the core of esport. Like being at an offline event is so much different. And I remember back in 2014, these guys, Marinelord and Lilbo, they were beating me quite hard online. So every time I was about to face them, I wish it was offline because I knew they had this lack of experience that I didn't have, and they would stress out. And in fact, during offline events, I was winning, and every time on online events, I was losing. And now that they have this experience, they have been to WCS.
No, you're always losing.
I was always losing. That was quite hard, but yeah, it's definitely great for him. I'm looking forward to see how he performs during this final, but as well in 2016 with Legacy. I mean, when I see these players with such skill not being scared anymore in front of a crowd, I'm expecting some sick memories about Stefano.
I mean, especially KeeN should be able to really deal with the crowd. I mean, being a Korean player, you play in a lot of, like, at least studio scenarios where you have, like, a small crowd, and you, of course, also have that booth experience. You're not really sitting at home where it's always a little bit easier, just, like, take a bit of a breather and be in your comfort zone. But right now, as we can already see, both of the players, they are very experienced in that regard, and the game is also loading up again, so we're going to jump into the match once more. So we had the difficulties. I actually don't even know what it was, but it's all been resolved, so Marinelord is good to go, and so is KeeN, so we're jumping into the game again. Our first game in the best of 5 series here at the final at the Gfinity Summer Masters 2. And at this point, the scout always on the way up to the top left, as we already mentioned. Marinelord here with the scouting a little bit later. He also started now, completed his own gas. KeeN has a slight advantage when it comes to the gas income and can therefore start his tag, kicking things off with an early Reaper. That is, of course, going to help him also with the scouting information, because he himself didn't actually send any scouts out just yet, so he also doesn't know where Marinelord is positioned.
Yeah, so this Reaper means that KeeN is willing to be slightly aggressive early game with maybe 2 Reapers and 1 or 2 Hellions. Not quite sure. It could just be to scout right now. Only gonna depend on what's gonna build on this barrack. Okay, so second Reaper. So it's gonna be this Hellion Reaper pressure. It's gonna be very early, but Marinelord of course knows about that, and I've never seen him taking big damage against this kind of strategy, so I like his position here.
So KeeN in this case, if he goes for the aggressive style, I mean, he's already like putting down all the pulls. He actually tries to go for the scout here, but it gets repelled immediately. What do you think KeeN should do now in this case? I mean, he scouted already the position of Marinelord on the first spot. If he realizes he can't do too much damage with that opening that he has there, what should be the next step for him?
Well, he seems to be willing to take a second base. He didn't have that much information. I think he wants to poke in again and see what Marinelord is up to, because he didn't see his tech choice actually, which is most likely going to be Raven here. The 2 Reapers, I don't know what he wants to do with them, but the Hellion's coming. That's very interesting. The starport was a bit delayed here. He's going in with the Reaper, seeing the tech lab. Okay, now he knows.
Yeah, so he basically saw everything right now. By the way, Marinelord, of course, also scouting out that expansion. Lost the first Reaper, though, KeeN that is, and the second one is most likely going to fall as well. It does look like those Marines are going to... Nope, they're not getting it. He's actually able to get away there with Reaper number 2. Has even another quick look into the base and then just jumps away. So at this point, we have the expansion faster for KeeN. He has that already out there. We see the Raven, as you predicted, being played by Marinelord right now.
And very interesting, he checked with his Reaper if the the add-on on the starport was recharging something or not, and he sees that there is nothing, so it's either a cloakless Banshee or a Raven, and that's big in TVT, very big.
How much does that expansion have to worry Marinelord now? I mean, we see KeeN with it expand. Marinelord is going into the Raven that you mentioned. We have a fair amount of bio units for him out on the map. What has to be Marinelord's next move so that he doesn't fall behind too much?
That's a good question, but it's a very common matchup build to do in this matchup from KeeN, and same goes for Marinelord. So I guess he knows perfectly this situation, and he's most likely going to be willing to move out on the map, I think.
Well, for now, he's building his own expansion now too, so he's going into a command center as well. And at the same time, we're now seeing down to the bot lane also the tech for KeeN. And KeeN is going into that drop style again. Like, he has been dropping the entire tournament, and he's going to try and do the exact same thing. One solo Marine, like poor Marine out on the map meeting a Hellion, that's not really what you want to see there.
Yeah, that's a Korean build from KeeN. I don't think I've seen that a lot in Europe. Okay, this Hellion got taken down.
Oh, a nice scout on the medevac now too. So even with that Hellion taken out and him knowing where the bio units are, KeeN still flies straight into the Marines here. And now the Hellions are out, and that is a fair one, but you already have a tank in there and a double Viking, and the KeeN just can't do anything. If it was only the bio units, I'm pretty sure he could have taken those, but not with the tank.
That's very interesting and nice for Marinelord. I mean, he didn't take any damage yet. He's stacking energy on his Raven. Everything's good so far. I mean, his plan is to just go into the game, not losing too much, and so far it's working pretty nicely. Even taking a third CC.
KeeN lost everything there. He lost the medevac, he lost the 4 Hellions. He has still a fair share of Hellions out on the map. He's able to take down that Widowmine, but in overall, well, at least when it comes to the worker supply, KeeN is slightly ahead. But both of them, just for now at least, like taking it easy. At least Marinelord, that is, sitting tight, having even the tank in the main base, and building now the rest of his army up.
He took some time to take this second base though, Marinelord. I don't really like this choice. And meanwhile, in the second base, the Hellions are trying to do some damage. They killed all the Marines, but the Vikings are going to be able to win this quite easily.
Yeah, he didn't really kill too much, did he? I mean, there's 2 SCVs he was able to take down. He lost 4 Hellions again. Didn't really delay the second base for too long. Was already flying down. But KeeN is still with that earlier base at the mineral line. Slightly ahead when it comes now to the overall supply. And especially when we're looking at the worker supply, he's 10 ahead.
Yeah, but time is working for Marinelord right now because of the 3CC, the triple mule, and the fact that he's going for mech normally. Yeah, should be going mech now. He's making an eBay, but I don't see additional factories. That's what worries me a bit, because it's 10 minutes and 30 seconds now into the game, and we only have 1 factory producing siege tanks, whereas KeeN already has 2 factory producing units. But this lack of 3rd CC is... Oh, okay, 3rd CC on the way now for KeeN.
He's building it now, right at the mineral line. He has also the Blue Flame Hellion upgrade now on the way. And, well, so far Marinelord doesn't really know about that 3rd base, but of course he's going to find out eventually with a quick scan here. Talking about scans, we have 1 up in the main base, finding out what Marinelord is currently building here. And still no additional factories for Marinelord.
I wonder what the Viking count is, because of course it matters a lot in TVT for mech against mech, and it's 6 against 6 so far, so it's gonna be an advantage to the defensive player right now. So most likely we're gonna see 2 Terran players sitting and watching each other for a bit.
Now we have also a Raven for each one of them, so for point different drones at the same time. Also now again the Hellions is poking a bit. KeeN still is having that very solid supply lead here by 20, and of course Marinelord's 3rd CC, and with that extra mule is coming in play. You can really tell that of course the work account is starting to even out since he has the triple SCV production. But the 3rd base now for KeeN is also completed, and that orbital is going to help him just like keep up in the mules that he's able to throw down. So KeeN, how would you actually judge his position right now? Oh, nice run by into the main base. Yeah, Blue Flame Hellions everywhere, and this time he's getting some nice shots of that. 10 kills already, and he's going to get even more. 13 kills on the SCVs, and still the Hellions alive. I mean, they're going to fall here, but that was a really good trade for KeeN now. All of a sudden, he is 16 workers ahead of his opponent.
Yeah, he keeps taking these small advantages and initiating this move now in the 3rd base of Marinelord, trying to kill against some SCVs, not getting a single one though. So I think it's still pretty close in a way because KeeN is not gonna be able to kill Marinelord before a while, just because he's sitting with his tanks and he doesn't have less Viking than his opponents.
Considering that KeeN is now currently still the one who has, I would say the one who has like a little bit more freedom, can do like more things. What would you say is the exact thing that he should do right now to like get a bigger advantage that he already has?
Just what he does. He's gonna take a force base. When you're ahead, just get further ahead. Economically, in terms of army, he's gonna produce more units. He's gonna develop his economy. Whereas Marinelord, just look at that. He's on his 3 bases, just not moving out any unit. And if you go on KeeN's vision, he has a goddamn good map control. He sees basically everything at not Marinelord's doing, but he can see when he wants to move out, and that's very important.
What would be a potential counterplay for Marinelord? I mean, when we're talking, for example, bio strategies, oftentimes you resort to drops. You think like, okay, if my opponent is expanding more than I do, he's spreading himself out pretty thin with this defense. Drop play can work. In this case, with Marinelord's style that he has right now, massive amount of Vikings, does he have anything that he can do to really try and pressure KeeN, at least on those satellite bases?
I think it's all gonna come down to decision making and the engagement. I mean, mecha against mecha is do or die. When you take the fight, you cannot really run away that easily, and the air battle is gonna be a big deal as well.
Yeah, and for now we have once again a quick drop into the main base, and this time it looks like he's not gonna get too much out of that. Those Vikings are gonna hunt down the medevac, poor medevac in the corner, can't even run. But of course, yeah, SCVs are not gonna die for this. All right, so Marinelord defending that particular attack in the middle of the map. We still see KeeN with a good presence, and he has also once more the Hellions on the way. Just try to snipe a couple of those additional SCVs. And I mean, as long as he takes down a fair amount of SCVs, he's getting decent trades off, especially since he denies mining. It's much harder to defend against these than actually using them. So 5 SCVs killed against 4 Hellions that were taken out. But for KeeN being so far ahead, those are not bad trades, and he keeps Marinelord busy.
Yeah, also what amazed me a bit is that he keeps finding small holes, even though Marinelord at 16 minutes only on 3 bases. It's pretty insane from him. Now again in the 3rd base, gonna kill 4 SCVs, maybe a bit more, not just 4. Still worth it.
Yeah. I mean, like, when you only look at, oh, nice battle there. An immediate reaction by Marinelord, already making sure that those Vikings are not being attacked. Now they're grounded, but the problem that they have still is that KeeN, of course, is present there and is just now trying to run with that advantage.
Oh, he's just gonna wait on the starport production here. So Marinelord in a tough spot. The Vikings are gonna land in the main base and kill so many SCVs, pulling back all of Marinelord's army.
Yeah, and he has another set already over here, but now it's suddenly KeeN who's losing a fair amount of his Vikings, but this battle he can't win. 2 of them go down, and here comes the rest of the army for KeeN, already starting to siege up. He's in a great position, 120 army supply against 100, already winning the air battle here, taking down a couple of medevacs as well, and of course now it's siege mode versus siege mode. 4 bases for KeeN, 3 for Marinelord. And Marinelord is completely like, there's KeeN driving a wedge between the bases. He finds himself in a very solid spot.
Yeah, it seems like he's just in Marinelord's head. He is where he wants to be. He finds all every time. And this position, Marinelord shouldn't have let him go there, but...
Oh, he's gonna lose the command center as well. He can't land it and therefore lose it in this case. And now once again, Marinelord is trying to go for a Hail Mary approach. He's 70 supply down in the GG as KeeN takes game number 1 in the finals at the Gfinity Summer Masters.
That was impressive from KeeN. I don't think I saw a mistake. Actually, I mean, it's really amazing to see him killing that many SCVs in a TVT in a mecha against mecha situation. Normally you just sit and watch your opponent because you cannot find a hole in the defense.
Yeah, he always got a few kills, and even if like when you like compared the units that they lost, it was not worth it for him. With all the SCVs that were pulled off the mineral line, the mining that you lose, and also of course the time that you have to invest to really react to these situations, KeeN just like played it perfectly there. And when he got those 13 kills, he just started to expand all over again and was in a great position there. What do you think was Marinelord's mistake here, really? Like, letting all that through? Do you think like he needed to have more units present in his natural and main base to defend against these drops? Was the scouting an issue? Maybe like put a couple of units out so that he sees those medevacs coming in earlier?
Yeah, that he should have put some Hellions out of the map to see the drops and the Hellions coming, because he did like 4, 5, maybe 6 run-bys even, and all of them did work almost. Maybe just one or two run-bys got shut down without any damage, but most of them were really successful, really successful.
We've been talking about before the series a bit that Marinelord is going to test the waters. Do you feel that he should really... You said you were worried a bit, since if he actually just like stands back and lets the Korean player approach him, that might be a mistake, because Koreans are just so good at running the show. Do you think that in this case he should start to switch his MO and try to play more aggressive builds?
I do think so, because during that game he realized how good KeeN was, because he didn't make a mistake. Once again, I think if I watch the replay and I go on KeeN's vision, it's if you don't want to win a GSL basically, and you have only TVTs, just back like that, and you're gonna win the GSL. Like, it was perfect.
What? So you didn't see any holes in that play that we saw from KeeN there. I mean, Marinelord, to be fair, had never really an opportunity to move out, right?
Yeah,
I mean, there was nothing where we could have said, okay, if he attacks here, if he exploits that weakness, but he never really took the initiative. It was just like trying to sit back, and he just like got beat, and every time he moved out.
Yeah, I don't even think that Marinelord touched KeeN this game. He never pushed KeeN. It was always since the 5 minutes, the Reaper going in the base, and since then, I don't think Marinelord has even touched KeeN.
Do you think there's like one map in particular that we have in the map pool overall where we will see very aggressive gameplay from Marinelord? Is there one map that he really prefers for that you know of? I mean, you've been playing with him quite a bit. Is there a map that he really likes to, where he likes to cheese a bit, for example?
I think he almost never cheeses in TVT, actually. He's early game, he's very solid, and he never tries to take big advantages really early on. He's not this kind of tyrant who will go gas first, Marine, Helion, Medivac.
You think he should?
I think he should.
I personally feel like if you have a good cheese, like in a best of 5, throwing it in just makes you much more unpredictable than if you are that solid standard player that everybody knows is going to play that style. But we're going to find out. I mean, Marinelord is currently down 1 game in the best of 5 series here at the final. And going up against KeeN again. Our second map is Coda. And we are going to jump into the map. Of course, Marinelord has to do something here. The French player, he needs to win one of the next few maps. So he's going to be in way more trouble than he already is in. KeeN with the lead. And starting now up to the top left here on Coda, we have the French player, Marinelord, down 1 game. He needs to make sure that he's starting to take the initiative. We've seen KeeN starting to the bottom right of Coda here with a very solid play, nearly no mistakes by him in the last series. Marinelord playing more of a passive stance, trying to just like, stay passive for a long time and really build his macro up. KeeN didn't allow that at all, and now Marinelord has to probably rethink his approach here a bit.
Yeah, we said it the first game really early on. Giving the advantage, the initiative to a Korean is never a good idea, because he's just gonna play with you. And we saw the exact thing in the first game, where he just pull the whole army with the Viking, and then take the best position possible on Cactus with his siege tanks.
And in this case, Marinelord and as well also KeeN both go for a gas first. It's actually one of the things that KeeN really likes to do in general, but in this case right now, Marinelord, what do you think we're going to see now?
We could see a very explosive match now. I think he will try something. He will try. And KeeN, he has no reason not to do the same type of game plan. He's gonna be willing to go to Marinelord's base, see what's up, take some SCVs here and there, and just play better.
I mean, one of the things that you can always do when you're ahead, you can gamble a little bit more. It's really it's actually like one of the topics that is pretty interesting to think about. When you're ahead, you can either argue, okay, I feel my opponent has to take a risk so I can play the standard style, or you're just feeling like a player that wants to be a bit more aggressive, and you say, even if I lose, I can take a gamble here. If I lose, my opponent is still kept guessing because he thinks that I might do that again. I feel like as a player who is behind, you have to kind of take a risk at some point. You need to either be aggressive and out there, or you need to play maybe a bit overly cautious, and that can just backfire so fast.
So both players are going for the exact same build. They're both checking the proxy at the same time. They both didn't scout. They both went for factory really quickly. And I'm really interested to see if they are both going to Banshee Cloak or not. Because if they are both going Banshee Cloak, it's gonna be a very insane
Cloak
early game.
Banshees, I feel like if you have a battle between two Terrans that are both going for Cloak Banshee, I think that this is like super interesting to watch. And for a player, probably like the most taxing. I mean, at the same time, you have to defend with your own Banshee and also, of course, focus on not losing yours while still doing damage. I feel when it comes to like micro plus macro, it's like the most taxing play.
Yeah, it's the most multitask intensive thing you can have in StarCraft 2 actually, because at the same time the exact same thing happens, so it's just up to you to manage it better than your opponent, and that's what we like in a mirror matchup.
Yeah, you have to be all over the place, and I would really, really love to see this. I mean, we're getting the star puts in here, of course, and it would be great if they would both like pull exactly that off. Currently, we're seeing also that Scout was denied. KeeN was up at the top left of Marinelord in the base and lost his SCV. We're Widow Mines now in play too, and KeeN has been... This is a unit that actually brought him a lot of victories during the tournament.
Yeah, he's gonna be dropping Widow Mine with some Marines. And Marinelord, is he gonna be going for Cloak Banshee? Alright. That's a tough spot for Marinelord. If he defends well, he's well, basically he wins the game, but defending that, I'm not quite sure. It's gonna be tough one, very tough one.
Well, KeeN really likes his Widow Mine drops. That's something that we already know. He does it against Protoss as well, and very successfully at that. So right now, once again, scouting information is rather limited, especially when we're talking about Marinelord, as we could just see a second ago. KeeN is already on the way up to the top left. Cloak has been started, and Marinelord is, of course, also producing that Banshee that we've been talking about, as also a Widow Mine in production. But let's see how KeeN is going to pull this one off.
Very interesting eBay coming down from KeeN. So he's not going to be too scared of any Banshee. The turret is most likely going to be ready. And he's starting to poke this wall.
Yeah, and he's going to get it. I mean, he's going to get, well, he's very likely to get some of those. We have also the Hellion for him to poke a bit against his opponent's units. Nice catch on that Widow Mine, making sure that it's only taking out one unit. The same happens with Marinelord, so both dancing around those quite a bit. But we have that supply depot getting rather low here.
Yeah, and every second KeeN buys here is perfect, because the Banshee is at home not dealing damage to KeeN's base. So once again, he's taking the initiative here, forcing Marinelord to defend his base, where he's just taking a second base, a second gas, and he's macroing perfectly behind that.
Yeah, Widow Mines are ready again, by the way, so both of them. And we see a pretty good hit here, taking down SCV, nearly taking down the SCV number 2. And, okay, with the Raven, he finally gets the vision, so Widow Mine kills Widow Mine.
Okay, he's gonna try to come down here, but auto turret maybe. Oh, I like this move from KeeN. He just wanna buy so much time, and he's gonna find some kills here, I'm sure.
Yeah, he's getting a lot of kills actually. 3 SCVs already, and he's not stopping there. He could take another one, and the focus is like lacking a bit in the last second. There could have maybe taken out another SCV, but still pretty solid at that. Of course, now the Banshee is also going cross map. We still have Widow, or we still have a couple of like auto turrets built, and he's flying straight into one, but moves back just in the last second.
I don't think he's gonna find any damage here. There is a scan available, 2 Vikings. This Banshee is not gonna last for too long.
Yeah, is he gonna drop that scan?
Yes,
Not
he
just.
will. He will. Nope.
Doesn't seem to have the energy, maybe. Like at this point, he's just like trying to go in, but the Vikings are already okay. They are still trying to chase, but it looks like the Banshee is gonna get away.
Yeah, sometimes you're just following this Cloak Banshee, waiting for it to be out of energy, but it doesn't seem to be the case here. What tech shot does he go for, Marinelord? Okay, going for mech again. And on the KeeN side, I think it's the same. It's interesting. Yeah, already taking his third gas, Queenies. That's interesting. So both are gonna go mech.
Now we have the expansion also a bit faster for KeeN once again. So he has already the orbital tech completed, and he's also in a position where he can start mining. We have the command center flying over now from Marinelord as well. He's not too far behind that, but did he already complete the orbital tech himself? I'm actually not too sure about that, but it looks like he did, yeah. Now, once again, the Banshee is this time getting a few shots in. No kills thus far, though.
Yeah, he has to keep it alive anyways. Even though he doesn't make that much damage, if you just poke a bit, force him to go out of the mirrors and save it, it's really, really nice. He's gonna try and do the same into the second base, but the turret here is very well placed, actually.
Yeah, so Marinelord actually in a position now where he has like 2 Banshees around and he's trying to utilize those to take down a few of the SCVs. We have a drop going up to the top left where KeeN is trying to do some damage on his own. And most of those Banshees pretty much out of energy already, which is going to allow that Viking to take them out eventually. But still, 3 of the SCVs are down, a 4th one now dropping, a 5th one as well. Marines are moving in and the Viking finishing the job. Not really the best trade here. I mean, 5 SCVs against 2 Banshees.
I don't think that was worth it because they are so much valuable late game. If you win the air battle, if you are in, you have even just 1 Banshee alive, you can just win the game from there. And yeah, KeeN has 1 Banshee. I don't think he went for Cloak. No, he didn't. Oh, it's gonna be Bio for KeeN. That's surprising. I mean, that's 11:30 minutes Steam. That's not common.
Yeah, and Marinelord is still with him. Exile has a lot of health in the map already. He also has a slight lead when it comes to the overall supply. We have 90 against 78, so looking good on that count. And he's also in a better harvester amount. We have him at 42 against 40. Nothing like too big, nothing to write home about. It's still pretty decent. And now the move out by KeeN, Stim and Combat Shield not completed yet, but he's moving out with the tanks. Has still a few Vikings in the air as well. And this is KeeN moving in and trying to take down the first. Only gets 1, but KeeN is really trying to apply the pressure right now with what he already has, even without the upgrades done.
I'm really confident for Marinelord here because he's so used to crush Bio army with his mech. He knows everything about it. He's coming out with this army. He has more Viking. He doesn't have to be afraid. He's gonna siege these tanks eventually.
He has a really nice amount of army supply at the same time, and he's going in, and KeeN is losing a whole lot here. The Vikings are already gone, and now it's time for the Banshee and also the Medivac to run. And Marinelord is 20 supply ahead. That was a fight that was a bit weird that KeeN was actually going for it. He was so far down in army supply, and that was pretty visible looking at the army that Marinelord had on the field.
Yeah, that's the thing with Marinelord. He barely loses against Bio when he plays mech. And whether it's KeeN or me or any Terran, I don't see him lose that often when someone's playing Bio, so I don't know if KeeN is sick with his play, but not a good start from him.
Yeah, and he's also losing now the SCV that was building the 3rd base. Marinelord didn't really commit to a 3rd yet, but could expand soon here. In the main base, we have the Banshee on working once more. And like, if he gets a couple of kills in here, that would be exactly what he needs, because KeeN is really starting to fall behind, but 3 more SCVs taken out. Now the harvester count is the same. He's also screwing a bit with the supply production that we are seeing here for Marinelord. And he got 7 kills in total for a single Banshee. That's actually pretty decent.
Yeah, for a clockless Banshee, you cannot really hope for more than that.
Can't argue about that, yeah. So bot lane, 3rd base is also now about to be completed. We have the upgrades coming in now too. But yeah, pretty solid position for Marinelord still. I mean, KeeN is making all the moves and is trying to be a bit more aggressive, but Marinelord still in the lead here. What do you think his next move should be here? He's already expanding. What does Marinelord really have to do at this point?
Sit a bit, wait, don't take any damage from a Doom drop or anything stupid like that. He has the game in his hand. He knows this situation perfectly, so he knows what he had to do. Just don't get Doom drops. Make sure to know where the Terran army is, and at some point just cross the map and destroy the Terran army, the Bio army.
Yeah, KeeN is at currently 115 supply, and you've been talking a lot throughout the week about like his decision making in general. And it looks like he's going for exactly those drops, but there's 3 tanks already, and he's walking right into them, trying to snipe. He gets 1, but that's all that he gets, and KeeN is getting a bloody nose wherever he tries to attack.
Yeah, but still, I think killing some siege tank here there is very important, because you don't want that mass of 20 siege tanks that you cannot kill with a Bio army. So he has to try to do this little damage. Of course, not losing too much while picking up the tanks, but he has to try something now, because when Marinelord tries to go out on the map, I don't see him killing this army right now.
Well, army supply is in favor of Marinelord quite heavily. We have 90 to 70 overall. We have, of course, also a couple of sensor towers now on the map, which is going to make it so much more easier for Marinelord to see where KeeN is going, where he's attacking from, trying to get a bit of a sense of what exactly happens there. Upgrades are now coming into play for both of the players. We already have a few completed for Marinelord. He's going into the weapon upgrade number 1. We have, on the other hand, then KeeN trying to get his Bio upgrades out with the double engineering bay. And again, a drop attempt, but
the reaction time from KeeN,
like, it's insane. Like, he just like jumps into the space and boom, all the SCVs are gone. So like Marinelord killed one SCU with this, like that's insane. It's crazy good.
That's very good, but now KeeN has to do more than that. He has to buy time. If Marinelord decides to cross the map, he's dead right now. So what he's doing is perfect. Staying just like that in front of Marinelord's base, just to know when he's gonna move out and try to slow him down until he's maxed.
It's one of the things that won KeeN the game against Myungsik, actually, especially game number 3 when he made the decision to just go for counter-aggression and read that situation perfectly. If you can do something like that against Marinelord, then the French Terran player could be in trouble, but he's already setting up missile turrets everywhere against Doom Drops. Once again, the army is moving in. KeeN just trying to snipe a couple, but moves then back and loses at least a few medivacs in the process.
Yeah, he killed 2 siege tanks here. I think the trade was okay for both players. But this one, I'm not sure. He's losing all the bio army here, getting chased by the Hellions. Doesn't smell too good for KeeN here.
Yeah, he lost all of the medivacs too. Like every single one of them was taken out. The 4th base attempt that he had was already eliminated. Like at least at the bottom left, we had a few units of Marinelord poking in, so he knows what's going on there. And he's moving cross map now, and we have him at 117 army supply against 95. Once again, Marinelord is starting to take on his opponent's Vikings count. We all know that once you have the better Viking count and also the upgrades there, it's just so difficult to regain that air superiority.
Marinelord has to be careful though, because most of his supply are in Vikings and Hellbats, not really in siege tanks. You want to have more siege tanks now. You have maybe 15 of them. Right now it shouldn't be more than 10. Counter attack here from KeeN, doing some damage. Killing a lot of siege tanks actually, and if he decides to run there and go to the 3rd base, could do a lot of damage as well.
Well, he kind of has to, because everything else is already dead. The medivac is gone, so he has very little chance of escaping with all the units alive. But we see Marinelord not really caring about this. Marinelord basically just decides, hey, you're not going to buy more time here. I'm going to go down and like take down a few of your structures.
Yeah, that's a maxed Terran with mech, and the bio player is not even maxed, so if you know a bit about the game, you know you're not the bio player is not in a good spot at all. Like,
yeah, I mean, one of the advantages that you have with bio is, of course, mobility, and that's something that KeeN hasn't really been able to exploit too much. He has still those units up at the top. Once again, a few of the siege tanks get taken out, but we have KeeN with another part of his army up to the top, and that he has not really used in recent times. He's going in again, sniping another siege tank, going up against those Hellbats now too, but down to the bottom of the map, we have Marinelord starting to move in again, and he knows about that 4th base. We've been talking about it, so he's going to try and take that out, and I don't think that KeeN has any chance of actually saving this.
one thing that is very important as well is that Marinelord has no Raven in his composition, and of course the PDDs are very important when you play against bio to neutralize these Marauder shots that just destroy your siege tanks. But that can be a big deal, and well, KeeN deciding to go for trade this year.
And the repair that we see for KeeN at the planetary to the bottom left, that actually helps him to buy him some time. And now Marinelord is losing a lot of units here. The bio of KeeN is moving in, starting to take down the siege tanks as well. They do a fair amount of damage though, and most of those bio units are extremely low already. But he's just trying to do as much damage as he possibly can, taking down the armory in the process. Harvester count, by the way, with 12 SCVs dying, is now at 56 to 63. KeeN is moving in again into the main base, is trying to also snipe a few of those production structures. Taking down the add-ons is the best thing that he can do in this spot. You can really tell that he was using his time quite wisely. So Marinelord had to retreat, lost a lot here. KeeN once again with good decision-making, still behind in the game, of course, but still, that bought him quite some time and did some solid damage to Marinelord.
Yeah, but the macro of Marinelord, I mean, look at that. He has less than 200 minerals. He's producing like a madman, even though he lost so much. He's already maxed against 140 supply of KeeN. That's... I mean, I still don't see him lose here.
Yeah, it looks a little bit like KeeN is doing well, but he's just delaying the inevitable. I mean, Marinelord he's still on 3 bases, 3 base versus 3. He might have lost that armory, but he is going to get those upgrades in, and he still has that massive army. It's 133 army supply, mech that is, against 97, and he's just like taking the opportunity again to go and start and move cross map with a 50 supply overall lead.
But he keeps on taking the good fights and making the right decisions, so I'm not quite sure about that one though. He sees the Cloak Banshee, he feels like he has to go. Is it the right decision though? He's scanning here, killing the Banshees. I think there is still a lack of siege tanks from Marinelord.
Yeah, KeeN is now taking a fourth base again. He lost the one to the bottom left of the map and is now expanding once more. Also trying to put additional pressure on Marinelord, who moves in though, and he has a lot going for him here. And KeeN is fighting back as hard as he can, and those siege tanks that you've been mentioning, they are currently missing. He has a few in the back, but not too many. But KeeN is just losing so much in these fights. He's down to 94 supply, and Marinelord has a nearly 70 supply lead now.
Yeah, I think it's break time now for KeeN. Marinelord so much ahead in this game right now. He's just gonna push and close this, I think.
He has more than double the army supply. It doesn't really look like there's anything that KeeN can do. He's been trying the entire time, but right now Marinelord is just in a perfect spot. He can move in and take this. Right now he has everything that he needs. Production is still going strong for him, and KeeN, he has just to face the music right now. More siege tanks now moving in, and there's only a few bio units for KeeN. That's the 60-70 supply disadvantage that the Korean player finds himself in now. And it looks more and more like we are going to go into the next game with a tie.
Yep. GG.
There's the GG. And Marinelord winning game number 2 against KeeN, tying the series up. Our best of 5 series going into a pretty cool game number 3. I like that. It was actually really well played from Marinelord here.
Yeah, see, every time he plays against Bio, as I said, he always wins. So I think KeeN is gonna learn a lot from this game. And if he goes Bio again, he's definitely not gonna play it the same style. Maybe a bit more greedy, taking a third way earlier and play more on the late mid stage of the game, more than this kind of weird push at the beginning without steam, combat shield or upgrades.
Yeah, KeeN definitely has to, I mean, he needs to change that up a bit. If he picked up on that fact that he will Bio just is going to have a much harder time, and with like him playing mech and trying to fight fire with fire, it's probably going to be a bit better for him. But right now, Marinelord, like super solid here.
Yeah.
KeeN, what I liked about KeeN is that he was always, like, when he fell behind, trying to occupy Marinelord long enough so that he could go back, try to poke, not just like sitting back and trying to defend, but always like using the mobility of the army that he had, going in, trying to force Marinelord first of all to move back and do enough damage in the process. But as you already said, like, Marinelord macroed like God in that case. Every single time that KeeN was about to retreat, Marinelord just was 200 supply again. Had his bases going, upgrades as well, so he defended extremely well against that style that KeeN used.
Yeah, that's the Marinelord that I know. I mean, you can find some holes in his defense, but normally his macro is just so good, and his killer instinct as well. He knows when to go, and he doesn't just march through the map. He does it very slowly. He makes sure that he's not going to lose everything at the same time. And he's also very smart in his unit choice. We could see that he was adding some benches in the later stage of the game. And that's something that when you play against Bio is just so good, because the Bio player just cannot deal with the benches. If he scan and tries to kill the benches, you just go back and your siege tanks are doing all the damage for you.
It was actually one of those things that baited KeeN a bit into that attack when he said, like, all right, there's benches like picking my units off one by one. I need to kind of commit to that fight right now. He moved even into the siege tanks and took a battle that didn't really go all too well for him. So there he lost a lot of the momentum that he was trying to build up. And Marinelord now, of course, I mean, a bit of confidence going into that third game now. As you already said before, if you're like, KeeN nearly played a flawless game on map number 1. And I feel for Marinelord, this must be like the moment when you say, like, okay, he might be especially good in Terran versus Terran, but still, I can win this. I can take it. If you fall behind 0-2 in a best of 5, I feel that's nearly lights out there, like from a psychological aspect as well. So, yeah, this is going to help him a lot, I feel.
Yeah, there is an important thing in TVT that every player has some kind of unique style. Even though you pretty much go for the same unit composition, there is a style of playing, the way, are you going to push at 14 minutes, 15 minutes, 16 minutes? Every Terran has his own timing, you know. And playing once against a player in Bio against Mecha, for example, you're going to know what are the instincts of your opponent. And I think he's going to try to play Bio again, but this time it's going to be much more effective.
As you can see here, Cactus Valley was won by KeeN. We have Coda, of course, taken by Marinelord just a few seconds ago. Terraform is now going to be our third member. We're at least going to be seeing Iron Fortress today too. Moonlight Madness, we'll have to see about that if the game is really needed. But in this case now, let's find out which player is going to take the lead in the best of 5 series here. The series is tied, and we are currently on Terraform, where we have our game starting, and up to the top left of the map, we in this case have now our red Terran player, which is actually Marinelord. We're going to see that in a second, and yep, there we are. So to the bottom right, it is KeeN, the Korean player. And in this third game, I'm pretty excited for this one. I mean, you already said a bit about what would you expect KeeN to do here, but still, like that last game, Marinelord with his mech against Bio, that looked pretty sick. I could see KeeN going for aggression again. I mean, so far it really worked out for him throughout the tournament. Last game was, of course, kind of funny to see him go for the Widow Mind drop again against the Banshees. That was pretty cool. But still, like, KeeN is someone who likes these early timings.
Yeah, it was interesting to see because actually KeeN was ahead in the early game, and then there was this weird push going, and Marinelord just crushed it so hard that from there he snowballed the whole game. And that's the difficulty when you play against Marinelord, that when he goes ahead in this matchup, really tough to come back, really tough.
KeeN for the first time in the series is now not opening with the gas first, but instead starts with the barracks play, whereas Marinelord has decided to go into a refinery first. So it's interesting that that kind of switched a bit from how the games went. KeeN initially on game number 1 being the only aggressor, and in the second game they both start with the gas first, and right now it's roles reversed. KeeN is actually the one who's playing a little bit more like stand more solid, not going for the aggression for the first time.
Nice, he's gonna scoot as well. That's interesting. I think he didn't scout the past 2 games, so something that should indicate some kind of direction to this game. He's not taking gas. Oh, he did. Okay. It was at 13.
Yeah, he took the gas a little later, and we still have him as the only one who scouts out right now. Marinelord, on the other hand, as mentioned before, he's the one who went into gas first, so he's going to have a faster attack than KeeN. Of course, you have to kind of do some damage because of that now too. Let's see how KeeN is actually going to play it from here. But I find it interesting that he's switching things around so completely. I would have expected him to be even like aggressive again, to be honest.
Well, as weird as it is, I think he's going to play very defensive and go for a Raven first here. I mean, the build fits for it. That's the common early game for Raven opening here. But no second gas though. That's I've never seen that build from a Terran, to be honest.
Well, now we can see what exactly KeeN is going to try and do with that. I really like his style. Like, KeeN has always been one of those players that has been relying on very solid builds, and especially when it came to Terran versus Terran. Like when Ryung had his high time in like TVT, I feel they had like pretty cool battles between the two of them there in GSL back then, where KeeN and Ryung were facing each other quite often. But for now, we have Marinelord, of course, also with the second gas coming into play, and he is adding that starport.
KeeN actually took that second gas as well, so they might both go for Banshees or Raven. Is the tech shows here. Should be Raven for KeeN, and should be Banshee Cloak for Marinelord. So a bit of a lead for KeeN here.
Yeah. How annoying is that for you, like when you are as a Terran player try to go into like Cloak Banshees and your opponent is opening with a Raven? Is that completely negating what you're trying to do? Do you keep the Banshees just ready and use them later on, or what would be the reaction there? Do you try to like go for YOLO the Banshee in and say like, okay, I'm going to try and get an even trade before the Raven can really pay off and like take me down?
It depends on the decision making. Is the Raven gonna be here in time? Is it gonna be in position? Is Marinelord gonna be able to find a way to escape as well? That's a good question. But normally it's just one Raven, a few Marines, so the Banshee can find actually a few kills and still run away. So it all depends on the micro here of two players. Marinelord could come up ahead or fall behind if he loses the Banshee. So it's gonna come down to the micro here.
Yeah, well, for now, Banshee Tech has been committed to. We have Cloak on the way, and that Raven that we expected is being built by KeeN. So for KeeN, a pretty decent opening if he has those units in position. He's keeping the Marines close to home, and he's also not expanding on the low ground, which he used to do in most of the games that we've seen so far, but instead positioning the command center safer on the high ground here. The Banshee is already on the way, and with the positioning here, it's going to be a bit more tricky for Marinelord to do actual damage to KeeN.
And of course, Marinelord didn't scout, so he's a bit scared of the possibilities of KeeN here. That's why he's going for this Raven behind the first Banshees, because it could be a Banshee Cloak from KeeN as well. Is he gonna find damage to do though? I'm not quite sure. The Raven is already out. The Viking is halfway down.
I mean, KeeN is also going for, yeah, as you said, the Viking is currently building. He has the Marines there too. Well, 1-2 units taken out, but so far the Banshee not doing too much just yet. Getting a few nice hits in against the Marines, though, getting them extremely low here. But now we have also the Viking out, and this looks like it's going to be eventually lights out.
Oh, it's just... Oh, that's so close!
Wow.
I think this Banshee has not more than 1 HP.
Yeah, that Banshee pilot there.
2 HP, wow.
2 hit points on the Banshee,
Pretty
so
close.
yeah, that was a pretty lucky one. And yeah, for Marinelord, that's great. He can just like repair the Banshee, send it back in later on. Marinelord is actually like supplied for a second here, whereas the engineering bay is being built again. Expansions are on the way. I mean, for KeeN, we already have it in place, and for Marinelord, it has just now started or completed. He's going into the orbital tech next.
I mean, it was fine for Marinelord. He did delay the CC a bit, killed a few Marines. 2 Hellions for free, though that's not so good. A lot of gas from both players, so they're most likely gonna go mech. Yeah, 2 factories already for KeeN, and Marinelord a bit late on his own second factory. eBay behind that, perhaps scared of a late Banshee from KeeN here.
Yeah, well, he has also his own Banshee now repaired and sending it cross map again. And for KeeN, we still have like that tag team style there with Raven plus Viking, trying to just wait for that. But already the Cloak and Marinelord is going to try and sneak in here. There is a missile turret though, and that's going to help KeeN even more.
Yeah, very smart, the missile turret, because the problem of opening with Raven is that you can only have detection at one place at the same time. Adding these turrets will bring you detection.
He's getting a lot of kills here. He takes down all of the Marines, keeps the Banshee around, trying to get a few more kills in. I feel with a bit of targeting, he could have taken down another 2 SCVs there. They were just barely able to escape, but still, 8 Marines taken out, few SCVs as well. In total, he lost 2 of the two of the Banshees, which is a bit more annoying, but still, that was pretty solid. Marinelord is actually ahead, but again, those Hellion run-bys that KeeN has been showcasing in previous game, but this time Marinelord is ready.
Oh, the Widow Mine. Okay, he replaced it. That's that there. Gonna take down 1 Hellion. So both players are going mech, and they look very close in. They are very close in supply, so very hard to know who's ahead here.
I like the scouting that we're seeing from Marinelord, though. I mean, up to the top of the map, we even have him with a few floating structures there too, just to make sure that if there is again a drop play from KeeN, which he has been showing throughout the tournament, and especially this series, that he knows early on what's happening, so it's not blindsided again. Cool timing here for the Marina as well, just to like the command center a bit more. Doesn't get the kill on the SCV though.
Has Marinelord started at third base? I don't think so. So he's gonna be a bit late on this as well. I mean, he was a bit late on the factory. He's a bit late on the third base. For that, I would say KeeN is ahead. But still very close. It's not a game-ending position by all means. Gonna go on for a while now.
And Marinelord is now committing to his third base to the left side of the map, so both of them expanding around the map edges. And we still have also that Blue Flame Hellion upgrade coming in for Marinelord. But yeah, a little bit more of a passive game when we're comparing it to the first one. We have still those Widow Mines on the map, getting a few kills in here every now and then. But it's a pretty solid number of Hellions that he has.
Oh, KeeN is looking to catch the Hellions, I think. He's looking to catch them. Okay, doesn't quite do it. Gonna check the third base, killing a few Marines here and there.
Yeah, but he eats the shots from the siege tanks too. Losing a few of his units in the process as well. Resources loss is still incredibly close. I mean, there's nearly no difference between the two of them. So a very, very close game here between these two players.
The fact that Marinelord killed that SCV on the third base of KeeN just bought him enough time to start his own CC and be at the same timing as his opponents. Not starting his upgrade in time though. Starting another factory. How many factories do we have here for KeeN? 3. Only 2 for Marinelord. Both of them producing a lot of Vikings, of course. This air battle being very, very important.
Spoking again here. Now we have the Vikings versus Vikings, and of course with the Banshee assistance. But still, KeeN getting a bit more out of this, and as long as he dominates the air battle, he can use that Banshee to take down some of the ground units.
That's huge. I mean, he has nothing to deal with this Banshee. Absolutely nothing. This turret is his saving building. Okay. You could just lose the game with this Banshee, but of course Marinelord building that turret to be a little bit more safe. But yeah, not a position you want to be in when you have to land your own Vikings and your opponent is just sitting here in front of your 2 bases.
Yeah, I mean, Marinelord has to huck that missile turret now. He cannot just simply move out and meet his opponent head on. He doesn't have the Viking count, and as long as that Banshee is around, he can just use it to take down a few units. Going into the main base. Nice, using the Vikings to snipe add-ons again. There's nothing for Marinelord. He's trying to get his units in. Oh god, loses 3 of his Banshees now as well. He's losing all of the momentum that he was trying to build up earlier. 7 additional Harvests have been taken out as well. KeeN goes for the battle against the Vikings, takes 2 of them down now too, and KeeN is everywhere right now. A 40 supply lead against Marinelord. He's just completely exploiting the advantage of having the Viking superiority.
And very important, Marinelord did forget to build his armory, so he couldn't make any Thor until very recently. I don't know if he can come back from it. I mean, KeeN took a 50 supply lead, and I don't know if he can even kill these Vikings, to be honest.
The Vikings alone, definitely the MVP of the game now, taking down that starport, or they will in a second, at least they should. Another 2 SCVs are dying, and he's just taking everything apart, the entire production.
Oh,
There's
Thor,
finally a Thor. The Thor could actually be sniped by the Vikings.
He's gonna run away.
I would have loved to see the Thor taken out by the Vikings. You don't see that too often.
It's a big boy. Alright, definitely KeeN ahead after this small pokes. And Marinelord, he lost all his production, so we see him at 2k mineral and 800 gas. It's not because he doesn't know how to macro, it's just because he cannot produce anymore.
And I don't even think that KeeN thought he could do this much damage. He just at some point realized what was happening, was like saying, alright, I might just as well. Takes down those structures. He expands, of course. Like, he expands again at the top right, builds a 4th now. And for KeeN, it's just very important that he runs with the advantage and makes sure that he gets farther and farther ahead and is not trying, like, is not making any mistakes again. This is a very similar situation to what we saw in game number 1. KeeN being ahead, and now he has to exploit it.
Yeah, and Marinelord, he cannot produce anything, so he's producing everything he can, and we can see that he was still making SCVs, and he's now at 76 workers. That's not where you want to be in TVT. KeeN having 68, it's more a number that fits for the matchup.
Yeah, especially when you're starting to max out on supply overall. You're limiting, of course, your army supply when you have this high of a worker number. And army supply is actually the key word here. 107 army supply against 46. He's more than doubling it, which is just crazy. And now the 2 Hellions, I mean, they take the 4th base, but in the middle of the map, we're having the Terran player in blue, the Korean player, starting to move his army, and this is just like a crazy army size. A massive amount of siege tanks with Vikings, and also that drop play coming into play.
I like Marinelord's reaction, though. As he lost all his production facilities, he decided to make a lot of them behind that, and I think he has something like 8 factories, 7 or 8, and he's producing 4 siege tanks at a time, as well as 6 Alien at a time. That's huge, that's massive.
Yeah, but here still comes the attack. The job's already happening, and up the front where the Vikings in the back line, the siege tanks starting to go in. Down against those Thors, taking them on, and the GG as KeeN claims victory in game number 3, once again with a lead in the best of 5 series.
Wow. What a move from KeeN, honestly. What a move. I've never saw Vikings do that much damage in a match, in a professional match of Starcraft 2, I think. I mean, they won the game, basically.
Yeah, that was extremely well done. I mean, he exploited every opportunity that he had there. When he saw that there was no anti-air, the only thing that Marinelord could do was build that missile turret, and he was trying to, but then KeeN said, like, okay, you have a missile turret at your natural, but you don't have anything in your main base, and he just, like, took the entire, like, economy there apart. Really well done. Well, we have a 4th game coming up in just a bit, but before we do that, we're going to have a look what the analysts have to actually say about our series that we had so far. A couple of really nice games there. I mean, that 3rd one was already extremely cool. And, okay, so we have a quick break, and then we're going to go into analysis before we are starting with our games number 4, and potentially game number 5, giving the players, of course, also a chance to go to the bathroom. So, guys, we're going to jump into a break, and we'll be back in just a bit.
See you in a bit.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to EGX 2015. We are here. It is Gfinity Summer Masters 2 for Starcraft 2. It is the grand finals for the past 2 days. We have KeeN and Marinelord going at it. KeeN is up 2-1. This may be the final round of the day, but let's talk about the games we've seen already. Guys, what did you think about Game 1? I thought that it was a pretty definitive victory for KeeN.
It was, and it just wasn't a good start for Marinelord at all. I feel like maybe he cut a little bit too many corners. I don't know. I feel like he took far too much damage just from simple run-bys from KeeN. It should really never do the amount of damage that it got done. So just by adding a simple wall off at the front of his natural by his third base, it completely would have neglected that. And maybe he would have been in a different kind of situation going into the later stages of that game. So a bit of a shame there. So a bit of a rocky start, but he was able to pull it back, which is nice. But obviously still down one map in the series.
Yeah, the strength of mech play in a lot of cases comes down to air superiority. Dario, you were talking about this earlier. It seemed like you repeated the mistake in the Game 1 and Game 3 of not having a Thor.
Right. In Game 1, he definitely took quite a lot of damage to the run-bys, but he was still doing okay. He was just like 10 or 15 supply behind. But because he didn't have any crowned AA, as soon as KeeN had the air superiority, he could just push in, and then the game got out of control for Marinelord, because the Vikings cleared up the Vikings of Marinelord. He had to land, and then the Vikings could go everywhere in the bases. Marinelord was forced to push back into his base, and then also because he lost his air superiority, he didn't have any vision anymore, and he didn't see the Terran Crowned Army just come up in the front, and he was able to siege up in front of the base of Marinelord because he was going back, retreating, trying to deal with the air units of KeeN. So if he just makes a few turrets or Thor, he would have been fine. And yeah, same in Game 3.
Now, I feel that Marinelord very well could come back and win, the next 2 games, and he could take the victory for himself. It seems like they're pretty evenly matched, We saw Game 1 swing in the favor of KeeN. Game 2, it was a pretty decisive victory for Marinelord. He had his own air superiority. He also had an extremely high Hellion count, which took away the anti-air of the Marines that KeeN was playing with.
See, all of these games so far have been long, 15 to 20 minutes, like not super long, but long. But they've been super one-sided. And that kind of says a lot about both of these players. Both of them have the ability to kind of win convincingly. So, like you said, Marinelord's definitely still in there. It's a best-of-5 series, halfway through the series now. So, a little bit of mind games will probably start coming into these later maps here. So, I'm backing Marinelord. I think he's still got it.
Yeah, we still have yet to see any really scrappy early game Terran. Second game, we did see a delayed economy from KeeN for the sake of pushing up with a couple Hellions, a couple Marines, Viking, a Medevac, and a Widow Mine to get that really early damage, but there was a wall, and like we talked about before, Marinelord showed he could defend. He was capable of doing that, so we don't have yet to see that really scrappy early game Terran.
Maybe a little bit at the beginning of that third game we could have, but obviously Marinelord did defend that well enough to kind of take it through to the mid-game. But yeah, I hope we don't see that. I hope we don't see that, because then it just gets a little bit crazy, and I don't feel like either player would feel maybe satisfied with either winning or losing there. It's a little bit scrappy games. They probably want to outplay their opponent if they do win. So yeah, hopefully we don't see that. Hopefully we just see some kind of more solid games here. And yeah, I'm looking forward to these next few maps.
All right, Dario, one last thought from you. As a pro player, you're in this situation. You're down, down 1 to 2 in a best-of-5. How do you mentally prepare yourself to continue on and try to bring it back?
Well, interesting is that Marinelord won Mech versus Bio. He won the game, but he lost both Mech versus Mech games. But only because he lost the air fight. So in the next game, he just fixes that one mistake. He's going to be in a great spot, because he's good at Mech versus Bio. Mech versus Mech, he has like this one mistake he makes that lost him both games. Yeah. So it's not the worst thing.
Do you think it's because that's his weakness, or do you think that's because he's going into that stage of kind of a little bit of an economic disadvantage, and he's not able to get those units out?
No, I don't think that's... he was able... Like, it's literally one turret would have saved him the game on Cactus, if he has one turret in the front to be able to deal with the air units. So it's not really that he got behind. I think it's just a pure mistake. Make one Thor, make one turret. Like, he can definitely afford that. He was at 170 supply, so that wouldn't have been a big investment.
All right. Well, thank you, guys. We're getting ready to go into the last possible game. of KeeN versus Marinelord. Marinelord needs to take it 2 games if he's going to take today. So we're going to throw it over to our casters, Kaldor and Daishi. Take it away, guys.
Thanks, Lycan. And of course, we have Iron Fortress coming up next. Potentially the last map, as we already said. And this could be definitely it. I mean, at this point already, KeeN with a very solid lead here. And we've been talking about this also a bit. The Viking count is something, or Vikings in general, that give him a very tough time. Marinelord lost now twice because he did not win the air battle. And it seems to be it seems to just like being a theme throughout the games.
Yeah, Tiago made the right analysis here, I think. He just has to make 1 turret or 1 Thor to not lose to this air domination of KeeN, or simply be more focused on his own Viking production, making sure that there is not even 1 single second when his starport is not being active.
Yeah. Well, 2 maps have been won by KeeN. We're going into our next map, which is the 4th. Iron Fortress is the map, and we're going to jump right in. KeeN versus Marinelord, potentially the last game here at the Gfinity Summer Masters 2, the grand final, the best of 5 series. And currently starting up to the top left of the map, we have our French Terran player, one of the many French players that we've seen in the tournament, doing a great job here so far, but he is now down the series. Well, actually, we are looking at KeeN first, starting to the top right now, our Korean player here in the lead. He only needs 1 more map out of the next potential 2 to win the tournament and crown himself the champion. And he's going up against the Red Terran player, starting to the top left of the map, which we're seeing right now. It is, in this case, Marinelord. And yeah, KeeN, of course. Let's find out what he's going to do. So far, he actually started with the Refinery first quite often. 2 out of 3 games, and he does it again, as does Marinelord. So both of them with an early gas.
Yep, both of them going gas first. That's, I would say there's something common in this map. They are both going to go defensive, I'm going to say. Mostly Marinelord, but KeeN, I think he's happy with the way this best of 5 goes. He doesn't have to be scared of macro games. The only game he lost is when he was playing Bio, so I guess he's just gonna play a classic macro game as mech.
I mean, scouting information is also, of course, going to be quite important, and Marinelord so far has been scouting counterclockwise most of the time. In this case, if he does it again, would actually mean that he finds KeeN's position very late in the series, but both of them starting with the same build here. When we're talking about Iron Fortress in general, is there anything specific for a Terran versus Terran that you think is going to play a big role?
Mecha stuff. Mech is tough. If you play mech and your opponent plays bio, it's a bad map for the mech player, because the third base is not really easy to defend, and this map is just so big that it's easy for the Terran to take a good concave, a good flank. It's just the same issue with every big map, is that the mech player can get caught in the middle of the map and just lose the game like that.
How would you think this is going to affect the style of the 2 players? I mean, we've been talking, especially in game number 2, about how Marinelord seems to excel when it comes to mech versus bio. Does that still apply to that map?
I think that still applies to that map, yes. He's just an overall insane player when he has a mech against bio. As I said, I don't think he ever lost against bio when he does mech. And both of them going Reaper after a gas first. That's the build we saw KeeN doing on the first map. So it seems like they are both gonna do it. 2 Reapers, a few Hellions, and then why not a Banshee or a Raven? We will see. Both of them taking 2 gases, interesting as well.
Yeah,
they are willing to take up.
Actually, the exact same opposite patterns that we've seen earlier. Like on the first map, it was really nice for KeeN because both of them started to scout counterclockwise. That worked out for KeeN. Now they both scout clockwise, and it works much better for Marinelord because he's going to get the early read. Of course, with that Reaper appearing in the main base of KeeN, KeeN knows what's going on, and he immediately like reroutes his own Reaper. But yeah, Marinelord is not going to do any damage here with the second Reaper.
I think he's going to lose that Reaper. And if he loses that in the mirror matchup, that's just huge. The game could end right here, right now. The Hellion coming, poking the Reaper. It's 2 Reaper. No,
the second one comes in from behind.
Oh my god.
And he takes him. Takes the Reaper, and what about the rest of the units here? Though it looks like he's going to lose even more. Second Reaper down. And I feel like he could even have tried to chase that.
I don't know if it's game ending, but that's definitely not good for Marinelord here, trying to buy time with this Alien, not losing it. That's very important. Okay, he walled.
Yeah, but he cuts it off and he's probably going to lose it. Now he could actually, because there's still KeeN around. The Reaper gets, of course, into the main base, and we have the Hellion of KeeN still trying to apply some pressure up at the front. Marinelord actually used that Hellion up to the top. He doesn't want to lose it, but we still could see KeeN finding where... Yeah, he's going to take it.
No mistake were made from KeeN here. Marinelord with his 2 Hellion trying to find some kills, but doesn't find it.
So why exactly is that such a bad position for Marinelord right now?
Well, he is in a mirror matchup where both of them went for the exact same opening, and he just lost more. So in any mirror matchup, that's very bad for him. KeeN going for a Raven behind that and starting a second base at the same time as Marinelord. Marinelord doing a Raven now. He started with the Viking, so yeah, they are both doing the same thing, just not quite in the same order, I would say.
It just feels like KeeN, of course, like with the units that he took, has now again the initiative, and that was one of the things that really put him ahead in most of the games that he won so far. Once that he was ahead, he seemed to play that flawless game where he didn't open himself up to any kind of mistakes being exploited. So if he can follow through with that again, that would be great for him. And as long as you have the higher unit count in the mirror matchup, you just have that edge when it comes to an actual fight.
Yeah, I like it for Marinelord because every time they play mech against mech, KeeN was the first adding the second factory, and we can see that Marinelord's second factory is almost done now, and KeeN hasn't started his, so it's gonna be very late.
There we go again, though. We have once more the Hellions dying
here.
Oh
my God!
And he's losing 2 more. This is bad news for him right now. Well, KeeN moving a bit too far out here, though. Losing 1. But he's actually getting decent trades off now. Marinelord saving his own, but still KeeN, of course, a bit ahead, and he's still the one poking, still the one moving cross map, taking the initiative and trying to just force his own game style onto Marinelord.
And Marinelord already building a siege tent. That's not quite common. Normally you just make Hellions and rush for the blue flame. I don't know if he thinks that KeeN is going bio or mech, but that's an interesting choice, a defensive choice.
Yeah, talking defensive, Marinelord has his own expansion still on the high ground. He's flying it down now, but he's of course already lost a little bit of time, which is going to give KeeN even more of an advantage. I mean, it's a small thing, but it adds up over time. If you have these tiny advantages that you get every now and then here, it just adds up, and that's exactly what we're seeing for KeeN now. The supply in workers is still the same, but KeeN getting a bit more mining out, once again on the map with his Hellions. But Marinelord caught at least up when it came to the supply count.
Yeah, they are both equal in workers. They are pretty equal in armies, so I'd say it's gonna go on for a while. And yeah, I prefer Marinelord position still because of that second factory. And there he's taking good trades against KeeN here. Yeah,
KeeN actually a bit too far out here, losing quite a fair amount of his Hellions. I think he lost 3 in that engagement without killing anything. So a very good trade for Marinelord now. The 2 of them still focusing, of course, on the economy on the second base. But Marinelord is now sensing that he has a bit of a chance to take down even more units. And he's taking another Hellion. Pretty decent micro here for him. He's actually able to get a very, very good trade from KeeN. Very well done by Marinelord. And he's suddenly ahead in a supply, doing a great job here.
Yeah, KeeN upgrading his own blue flame here. But Marinelord, he has 2 siege tanks against 0. I mean, if he march across the map, what KeeN can do here?
Yeah. It's looking a bit tricky, but again, the Vikings of Doom.
Yeah, he likes them.
Yeah, he really, well, I would like them too after those last 2 games that we saw there. KeeN with the Viking, Marinelord, of course, adding his own there too, and he has pretty decent Viking production at this point. The Viking count is pretty identical for the 2 of them. That Blue Flame Hellion upgrade is going to help a bit, but as you already pointed out, without the siege tanks, it'll be interesting. KeeN expanding again, the first one to take his 3rd base.
KeeN, okay, no. Both of the Ravens are full energy, so it doesn't matter, but yeah, KeeN having the map control here, putting down a 3rd base directly on spot, whereas Marinelord put his 3rd base on his natural. Both of the players taking their gas now. Marinelord killing a few Hellions. Oh, the blue flame's done though for KeeN.
Yeah, and it shows. He's getting really nice positions against that Hellion line, and he takes everything out that Marinelord had on the map, and that is going to limit Marinelord's map presence a lot. He lost quite a bit of map control here. That 3rd base is very safe now that KeeN is currently building, and that works in his favor. that count in siege tanks is a thing that he still needs to be a bit concerned about if he wants to push in, but still, like, this is a really solid position again for KeeN here, thanks to that third that he's building.
Yeah, and he's gonna try again with his Viking, I think. Oh, the air battle here. Is he gonna win it this time? The two PDDs going down from both players.
And they're going straight for the shots here, and so far the Viking battle is going slightly better for Marinelord, taking down that Raven already, which is also huge, but Marinelord is the one taking the Viking count this time, doing well here. We still have a Banshee who was trying to take down a few of those siege tanks, but actually a very nice reaction from Marinelord, pulling SCVs right away to repair that, so very well defended.
Yeah, very nice. For the first time in this best of 5, Marinelord won the air battle.
But how worrisome is that third base still? I don't even think that Marinelord knows about the third, and KeeN hasn't really saturated yet, but he's now sending the SCVs over. So this should help KeeN over time to get a very nice lead over Marinelord, shouldn't it?
That's definitely an advantage here, and I don't even know when Marinelord is going to be willing to take his own third base, because he's under pressure. KeeN is standing in front of his base with his aliens, trying to know what's up and poke a bit.
And we have that poking going on again. There's that siege tank is starting to split a bit, but the third base of Marinelord is going to come into play. So KeeN is always a little bit ahead with these moves, but it's just a tiny advantage that he has there. And so far, it hasn't really snowballed just yet. He gets a few Hellions there, but Marinelord is able to trade later on. He takes his third, but also uses his... his Echo Slide came a bit later in transferring those SCVs over. Marinelord did that right away when he flew the command center in position. So still, both of them on a very equal footing.
The most important thing here for KeeN is that he had his 5th and 6th guys so much earlier than Marinelord, and in a TVT when you play mecha against mecha, the minerals doesn't really matter. It's more about the gas, the amount of tank and starport units that you're gonna be able to produce, and KeeN is gonna be ahead on that.
Now, when it comes to Vikings, we are both of them still, of course, waiting for the next fight that happened. Overall supply is still very much the same. You can really tell that Marinelord is fully aware that this is already one of those final games for him. He has to win 2 in a row now. If he loses here, it's all over for him. KeeN, of course, knows that as well, but Marinelord playing a very solid and also cautious game at this point, not really overextending or anything. And KeeN is expanding again, throwing a 4th in the mix already.
Yeah, I like that he wants to keep this alien advantage just so he can stay in front of Marinelord's base to know if he wants to push or not. That's really smart from him.
Yeah, with the Hellions and the map control that he established earlier, he also protects, of course, those bases that he has there. We haven't seen any kind of attempts to really drop, like also with Mech. KeeN did that earlier where he was trying to drop a couple of Hellions, he was trying to drop a few Hellbats. This game, it's a bit of a different style that he utilizes. The Vikings, the Viking production is still on. Marinelord is making sure that this time he has a decent count.
Yeah, they definitely don't want to lose this air battle. KeeN, though, producing 1 Thor, so he's not going to be in threat in case of losing this battle.
Yeah, and at the same time now, the 4th base for KeeN is nearly completed. We don't see a 4th for Marinelord just yet. He does not add... Oh, actually, he adds another base now, too. Has a 4th also on the way. We have also Armories in play, even more scouting by KeeN on the map. I really like that, by the way. We've seen a couple of matches, especially with KeeN, who played a Ninja X-Span against Myung-Sik, and he wants to make sure that there's nothing hidden on the map that might end up losing him the game. So pretty smart move from the Korean Terran player. But Marinelord is getting a bit bolder, moving out onto the map right now, just believing in his own army here. He has played a really nice macro game, and is even ahead in supply.
Yeah, both players having their +1 now very soon for Marinelord. And we saw that he was adding a second armory, so he's willing to go into that macro game, upgrading his units more than his opponent. And yeah, as you said, he knows that it's match point and he doesn't want to lose. He's not afraid of going into a 40-minute game and facing the Korean into the hardest ways.
Yeah, and once again, that air battle already unfolding. The two of them close to 200 supply. KeeN is moving in on the low ground. Now that Thor nowhere to be seen, though. Not with the army just yet. And the Ravens is coming through again for KeeN. Yeah, and he's forcing Marinelord to land his Vikings. Has the ability, but there's no Banshee this time that can capitalize on it.
Yeah, I mean, if there was a Banshee, I think Marinelord would have been in a world of trouble here. But now he's starting 1 Thor. He's starting to learn of his mistakes, and KeeN doing a huge run by here on the 3rd base of Marinelord.
Yeah, but there is the army of Marinelord coming back and taking down every single one of these. then again the Viking count is eliminated, and it's the Vikings of Doom again flying in, and he could potentially land those two, but well, Marinelord leaves a few units behind to be safe against that.
And yeah, KeeN doesn't have to be afraid of Marinelord's army. It's only siege tanks, so he cannot go through. And KeeN again in the main base is gonna be landing the Vikings and trying to do some damage.
I've seen that before.
Yeah.
Oh, but nice. That is actually a really good checkmate position now. That Thor came out in the perfect time. KeeN is just trying to trade Vikings against Vikings. That was actually, I mean, this could have been much, much worse right now. That Thor saved him there.
Yeah, but all what matters, the air domination.
Yeah.
Well, in the end, doesn't really matter now. The Thor came out. Marinelord did build some turrets on the map, so yeah, he just lost all the Vikings to the turrets. Very smart for Marinelord. I like this position, building the sensor tower to know if the siege tanks are gonna be moving or not. And this alien under the force base, wow.
Yeah, but they are getting dropped with a few Hellbats, and they are putting quite a bit of damage in. Once again, Marinelord losing a lot of his supply. It's actually really interesting. KeeN going into the main base with the Vikings, having a very nice time there, and it was very reminiscent of game number 3, but then that Thor pops out. KeeN is being forced to just like try and fly away, trades quite evenly with the Vikings there, but loses everyone on the way back. And now that attack, and KeeN is just like trying to carry the momentum from that last battle into the next one. Flies in, soaks a lot of the shots there, tries to take Marinelord down, breaking through the siege tank line of his opponent. The Thor is being pushed back as well, a 50 supply lead for the Korean player, and Marinelord is in a world of trouble, losing tank after tank. And there is just absolutely nothing that he can do to stop KeeN here. He's trying to go for the drop, but there's the GG. And KeeN is the champion of the Gfinity Summer Masters 2, taking down Marinelord with a 3-1 victory. Great play here at the end, really well played, and the Korean player successful, taking down Myungsik in the semi-final, advancing to face the French player, and he actually takes it here. Extremely well played by KeeN. Congratulations, and of course also congratulations to our runner-up. Great play here from Marinelord, but KeeN just a bit too strong. And of course, guys, we're going to give it over to the stage now, where we're seeing our player, and let's see what KeeN has to say about his victory.
Well, there you go. We're your Starcraft 2 Summer Masters 2 champion, KeeN, everybody. Congratulations. Congratulations. A strong performance at the end there. KeeN, how do you feel?
이제 우승을 했는데 기분이 어떠신지? 게임하면서 이 정도로 기뻤던 건 오늘 처음인 것 같아요.
I think I've never been happier while playing a game. I love that. I absolutely love that. So you're obviously the StarCraft 2 Summer Masters 2 champion. $5,000 is winging its way to you. How are you going to spend it?
우승 상금을 받게 될 텐데 우승 상금으로 뭐 할 건지 벌써 생각하셨나요? 아직 생각은 많이 안 해봤는데 일단 제 주위 좋은 분들한테 일단 좀 쓰고 그다음에 좀 저축할 생각이에요.
I didn't think about something yet, but I probably will take out some friends and close friends to dinner or something like that, and probably take the rest to the bank. Very sensible. Well done. Right, it's your moment. This trophy is all yours. Everybody, your StarCraft 2 Summer Masters champion. Please go crazy for KeeN.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again, your Gfinity Summer Masters 2 champion. Playing for Team Prime, it is KeeN. Really awesome job. Really excellent play by KeeN, taking the series 3-1. It was It was amazing. It was TVT excitement the entire time.
Yeah, it seems like. Well, I'm not. I'm not going to say too much, but I think Marinelord's probably not too happy with how that last map went. He was on the back foot from the very start there, losing that Reaper kind of. I'm not going to say carelessly. It is a bit unlucky how he lost that. He wasn't too sure what his opponent was going for, and if he did know that they were going for exactly the same builds, I'm sure he would have played a little bit more careful with that. But from that very initial moment, he was kind of on the defensive side a little bit. He had to cut his Hellion production a little bit earlier than KeeN did. And he did actually end up getting a pretty decent army composition, but yet again, his Viking count just wasn't there.
Those Vikings, we saw he took that one really good engagement. He kind of whittled down the Viking count of his opponent, and then they came back, and his opponent continued to build Vikings and had another Raven ready to go. And that really, those PDDs, I felt really turned the tides. And he didn't have anti-air until later in the game when it was just about too late.
Yeah, once again, a similar mistake like game 1 and game 3. Also losing the Raven in the first Viking Raven engagement. KeeN sent it back immediately after he put on the PDD. Unfortunately, Marinelord did not, and then ended up losing that also crucial Raven that really changes the tides of any battle in the air.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's go ahead and look at the final placements of today's event. We have, of course, our semifinalists, 3rd and 4th place, Psionic and Myungsik. Then 2nd place, Marinelord, taking home $2,500. And then the finalists, 1st place, $5,000 going to KeeN. That's a nice bit of change to take back home. I'm sure he's really excited about it. I think he said he was going to take some friends out to dinner. Yeah. So that was nice of him. Yeah. A little generous, right?
Yeah, those Korean players, whenever they win, they always seem to take out their teammates. So that's a pretty cool thing.
Do you know how much Korean barbecue you could buy with $5 grand? Not enough.
You think he's going to spend it all on Korean barbecue?
If I had $5,000 and was going back to Korea, I'd probably buy a lot of Korean barbecue.
I mean, it is good.
It is.
I won't argue with that.
That's amazing. What's your favorite?
Every
white person says bulgogi, so yeah, I guess you could just go with that.
I don't want to be. I was trying to say something different, but I couldn't. I really couldn't. I think that's the only thing I've had, so I can't really say any different. But
Dario, are you the same?
No, it would be some chop salad.
Chop salad?
Yeah, chop salad, like the pork belly. I like that.
Oh yeah, pork belly's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very good. I like the bibimbap. Like the little
but
rice
that's not barbecue.
That. Yeah, I guess that's not barbecue. Well, I get it at barbecue. I get the the bulgogi, and then I get that, and I mix it all in together.
Ah, okay. When it's but that are like kimchi jjigae and ochingo tteopbap.
Anyway, what a great tournament this is.
That devolved quickly. I think we're all hungry. But no, it's been an amazing tournament. So what were your upsets this weekend? What was your high point and your low point?
You know, my high point, actually, it's probably a bad thing. I feel like I'm an evil person, but my highlight was, it wasn't the fact that Lilbo lost, but it was in the way that he lost. Like, it was a crazy way to lose, right? Like, being in such a dominant position, 1-0 up, and poised to take the second map as well, and ended up losing the series 2-1. And it wasn't a highlight in the sense that it was a good thing for me. It's just that stood out for me the most because it was so shocking.
Yeah, and then a low point, something that you were kind of upset about?
Something that I was upset about. I guess Myungsik losing.
All right.
Because I got my prediction wrong.
TLO?
Well, my high point was beating Daishi in the show match.
Thanks, man.
Yeah. Gotta shut down Daishi. He's a little bit arrogant sometimes.
Those Frenchies.
And losing to Pling, I mean, that's gonna take the arrogance out of anybody.
Right. All right.
So that was nice, and then it wasn't. Thanks, I guess.
It's a pickup strategy.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations for your victory. Congratulations to KeeN for his victory. Want to say thank you guys at home for watching. Thank you to everyone who tuned in and showed up today for the finals. It's been a great time. Thank you to Gfinity, of course, for putting on this awesome event. That is it for us, guys, at the Gfinity Summer Masters 2 Analyst Desk. You all take it easy, and we'll see you next time.
Rockin' everyone. I wanna be a hero, hero. Oh, the hero.